The narrative of Adam and Eve's existence in paradise is articulated in Genesis, the inaugural book of the Bible. This account presents the inception of the inaugural human beings and the dawn of human history, interspersed with themes of liberty, temptation, and transgression. The story unfolds in several stages: the creation of Adam and Eve, the temptation posed by the serpent, the consequent reaction of the divine, the repercussions thereof, and, ultimately, the expulsion from paradise. According to the biblical account, God executed the creation of the universe and its contents over 6 days. In Genesis 2, God crafted the first man, Adam, from the dust of the earth and infused life into his nostrils, animating him. God positioned Adam in the Garden of Eden, a resplendent and lively realm, replete with fruit-bearing trees, rivers, and diverse vegetation. God entrusted Adam with the stewardship of this verdant haven. Furthermore, God imparted a stipulation to Adam. He could consume from any tree within the garden, barring the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, situated in Eden's core. God forewarned that, on the day Adam indulged from this tree, he would assuredly perish. Despite the encompassing beauty and abundance, God discerned it unbefitting for Adam to be in solitude, and thus resolved to craft a companion for him. Consequently, God induced Adam into a profound slumber, extracted one of his ribs, and fashioned Eve. Adam and Eve thus emerged as the primal human beings, coexisting harmoniously within paradise. Within the Garden of Eden also resided a serpent, deemed more cunning than any other creature. The serpent, identified as Satan or the devil, engaged with Eve and commenced to challenge the divine edict, inquiring, "Is it true that God has prohibited you from eating from any tree in the garden?" Eve responded that they were permitted to eat from all trees, except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, as God had decreed that consumption would result in death. The serpent, however, deceived Eve, suggesting this would not transpire. Rather, she would attain godlike knowledge of good and evil. Overcome by temptation, Eve, observing the fruit's palatability and its desirability for wisdom, partook of the fruit. Having done so, Eve also offered the fruit to Adam, who was with her, leading him to partake as well. Consequently, the eyes of both were opened, and they perceived their nakedness. Experiencing shame, they endeavored to cover themselves with fig leaves. When God sought Adam and Eve, calling upon them to reveal their presence, Adam conceded that he hid due to his nakedness, prompting God to inquire how he had become aware, insinuating consumption from the forbidding tree. Adam conceded, influenced by Eve, who had been beguiled by the serpent. God, in response, delineated the repercussions of their sin. To the serpent, he pronounced a curse, relegating it to slither on its belly amid enmity between it and the woman. God prophesied about a future descendant of the woman who would crush the serpent's head, which many Christians interpret as a reference to Jesus Christ. For Eve, God declared that childbirth would now be fraught with agony, yet her yearning would persist towards her husband, who would exercise dominion over her. To Adam, God disclosed that the earth was now cursed due to his transgression, necessitating arduous toil for sustenance until his demise. Moreover, he would eventually revert to dust, the source of his creation. As a consequence of their disobedience, Adam and Eve were banished from the Garden of Eden. God stationed cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the garden's entry, precluding their return and preventing them from partaking of the tree of life. This expulsion symbolized the forfeiture of the perfect communion with God that Adam and Eve once enjoyed, and signaled the infusion of sin into the world, culminating in a life rife with unavoidable suffering, laborious toil, and mortality. The tale of Adam and Eve in Eden is pivotal within Christianity, viewed as the genesis of sin and the fall of humanity. The disobedience of Adam and Eve wrought consequences not solely for themselves, but encompasses all of creation. Nonetheless, Christianity perceives this narrative as a precursor to the redemption afforded by Jesus Christ, who, according to biblical doctrine, arrived to repair the fractured relationship between humanity and the divine. The story imparts crucial lessons on free will, temptation, accountability, sin's ramifications, ramifications, and the longing for redemption. Scholars frequently interpret it metaphorically concerning human choices and their consequences, as well as the encompassing love and mercy of God.